to talk about your first role in tech. So you said it was power tool or it was what was
Well, my very first role in tech was out of college. And I can tell a funny story on that. So my very first role, when I graduated from North Carolina A&T, I relocated to Northern Virginia. My brother was already there, and my brother helped me find my first job. So he was working with the government as well, and there was a small logistics company that he knew someone from his church went to that worked at that logistics company, and they were looking for a network administrator. So I told my brother, I said, "Hey, okay, let's, I'm gonna do it. It's a small company. It was an 8A firm. They probably had about maybe 40, 50 people in this office, and it was black owned. So, I was excited about that. And there was another network administrator. I never will forget, his name was Gary. I can't remember his last name, but his name was Gary.
it?
And Gary was there, and I remember going and having an interview. And you interview in the office in a conference room. You don't get. I didn't get to see where Gary's office was or anything like this. So everything looked nice. It was set up very nice, and so I accepted the position. I relocated there, moved in with my brother and his wife. And my first day at work, I showed up and I'm dressed because everybody else was dressed when I had the interview. And here comes Gary around the corner, looked like he just rolled out of bed. You know, he had on all these wrinkled clothes. And I'm like, this is not what I had expected. And so Gary took me into his office. And when I tell you, when I walked into that office, it looked like a IT junkyard. There, it was, he had computers open and all monitors, and he was patching things up, and he had the network running with cables across the building. And I stood there like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And this guy was like, yeah, this is the network, this is the switch over here, and this is where I run the console. And it looked like a complete mess. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? So I had to jump in there, and I didn't know anything about networking at the time. I was fresh out of college. They don't teach you networking in college. So there was a Novell network, like I mentioned, and this guy says, well, I'm about to go to lunch. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna read a few books, and I'm gonna figure out what's going on. I don't know if he set me up or what, but as soon as he walked out the door, when I tell you the whole network crashed, the network just shut down. And
Whoa, what?
people were running to the office looking, where's Gary? Where's Gary? I'm like, I don't know what's going on with a computer. The system is down. We can't access network. We can't. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. I remember picking up the phone, calling my brother at work, and I'm whispering, and I'm like, Chris, I'm at work. And the network just went down. He was like, what do you mean the network just went down? And where's the guy you working for? I said, he went to lunch. And we didn't have iPhones, or, I couldn't FaceTime my brother. I don't even think I could take a picture at the time with the phone that I had. But I'm telling you, then the president came by, and he was looking at me like, who is this little young girl out of high school, out of college, that doesn't know what she's doing? My company shut down and we can't work. And it was a lot of government, like retired lieutenants
Oh,
and colonels. So I was so intimidated. If I could have felt defeated, but what kicked in for me are those personal skills. So again, I could talk my way out of anything, and so I just had to turn on the conversation. How you doing, sir? I just got here. Gary went to lunch, but I'm going to do my best to get it back up. I need to troubleshoot some things. I just talked, and so although I can't even remember what happened that first day, but that was my first job, and needless to say, um, the network was quite difficult, but I learned from that because I had to get in there and really learn how to administer this network. I had to go in there and learn how to troubleshoot, put memory boards in computers. I was opening up computers. I was doing more than I thought I would do. And when Gary realized that I had a heart for this, I had a passion. I wanted to learn. I wasn't just sitting in there trying to get a paycheck as a college student. I was trying to learn, and as he saw that I was retaining, we started building a relationship. We started working, and that was my very first job. And I went. He said, "Hey, you probably should take some classes." So I did. I went and I got a certification in Novell administration, and I learned it because I didn't have a choice, because I felt like I was thrown in the fire. So sometimes we have to take those opportunities that come against you, that make you want to just run. And when you think you're failing, you have to look at that as a positive opportunity to say, how am I going to turn this around? How am I going to take this negative experience and then turn it around for good and make it positive? And every opportunity I had, of course you get defeated, you come home and you're like, I'm not going back tomorrow. But I would, get up and go back tomorrow and learn something new.